Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from 6th group. We will present the material. The material is the types of tests and principle of a good language testing. The groups are Mutiara Faradina, Robi Uddin, Arifa Sholikhatin, and Selsa, Filia, Devi. The overview are the purpose of testing that will be referred by Arifa Sholikhatin. The next is types of tests will be referred by Mutiara Faradina. And then the next is principle of a good language testing will be delivered by Selsa, Filia, Devi, and Robi Uddin. The next is the purpose of testing. The first is to provide a record for assigning grade. And the second is to provide a learning experience for students. The third is to motivate students to learn. The fourth is to serve as a guide for further study. The fifth is to assess how well students are achieving the stated goals. And then the sixth is to provide the instructor with an opportunity to reinforce the state objective and highlight what is important students to remember. The next will be delivered by Mutiara Faradina that about types of tests.
I'm Mutiara and I will be discussing about types of tests. So there are 5 types of tests in general. The first one is achievement test. So achievement test is designed to measure students' capability in learning language, but it only records this specific section of that language that has been taught. So it only measures their ability in the particular section that has been taught. It records students' achievement in reading comprehension, written or oral expression, and also mathematical computation. If you are a teacher, you will be using this test a lot. The examples of this test are a summative test and also a formative test. So this test is usually used in English class. Next, it's the proficiency test. So this test is going to measure your capability in using language. It also shows your current level of using the language. The examples of this test are TOEFL test, IELTS, and TOEIC. So in the certificate, you will see your current level of using the language. For example, you will see your score here. And there will be a bar to show your level. For example, like B1 or 0. So this proficiency test will measure your ability in using the language, whether you have learned that language or not. Next, aptitude test. So aptitude test doesn't measure how well you use the language, but it will measure how well you acquire language in general. So this type of test is used when you want to choose someone to learn a new language. And the first one is diagnostic test. This diagnostic test can show your strength and weakness in particular part of linguistic areas. For example, a test will show the weakness of student in using article, in using tenses, and etc. The last one is the placement test. So this test will place the student in a particular class. So this test kind of classify them into some particular class. So like for example, for the division of class, like in the senior high school you have A, B, C until F, and this test, for example, will classify them into which class they belong to. Okay, that's all for me. And the next material will be delivered by another presenter. Thank you.
Next, type of test. Direct test and indirect test. Direct test, a test of a student language skill tested in a real-life way. For instance, skill-specific type of language testing. Language can be spoken, heard, written, read, understood, interpreted, translated, and more. An indirect test, a test which tests a skill and indirect way. For example, where speaking is assessed by a multiple choice test of recognition of some of the sound of foreign language. Next, 5 most commonly used test format. Number 1, multiple choice. Number 2, true or false. Number 3, matching type. Number 4, fill in the blanks or sentence completion. And the last number 5 is essay. Next, general principle in test construction. A good test must have gone through several processes called validity, reliability, Westback, and pretesting. Anderson, Colpum, 1999 and 5.
The next is validity. Validity is an all-encompassing term which is related to questions about what the test is actually assessing. A test is not valid, for example, if it is intended to test a student's level of reading comprehension in a foreign language, but instead test intelligence or background knowledge. When a new test is constructed, it should be assessed for validity in as many ways as possible. First is construct validity. If a test is supposed to be testing the construct of listening, it should indeed be testing listening rather than reading, writing, or memory. To assess construct validity, the test constructor can use a combination of internal and external quantitative and qualitative methods. Second, content validity. The content validity of a test is sometimes checked by subject specialists who compare test items with the test specifications to see whether the items are actually testing what they are supposed to be testing and whether the items are testing what the designers say they are. Third, face validity. Face validity is an important aspect of a test. It is related to the questions of whether non-professional testers, such as parents and students, think the test is appropriate. If these non-specialists don't think the test is testing candidates' knowledge in a suitable manner, it may not work as it should and may have to be redesigned. The reliability of a test is an estimate of the consistency of its marks. A reliable test is one where, for example, a student will get the same mark if he or she takes the test, possibly with a different examiner on a Monday morning or a Tuesday afternoon. A test must be reliable, as a test can't be valid unless it is reliable. However, the converse is not true. It is perfectly possible to have a reliable test which is not valid. For example, a multiple choice test of grammatical structures may be wonderfully reliable, but it is not valid if teachers are not interested in the grammatical abilities of their students and if grammar is not taught in the related language course. And then washback. Any language test or piece of assessment must have positive washback or backwash, by which I mean that the effect of the test on the teaching must be beneficial. This should be held in mind by the test constructors. It is only too easy to construct a test which leads, for example, to candidates learning material by heart or achieving high marks by simply applying test taking skills rather than genuine language skills. And the last is pre-testing. If students' future are likely to be affected in any way by the test result, performance tests such as essay and oral interviews should also be tried out. So viewer candidates. Such tests and tasks should be pre-tested to see, for example, whether they produce the expected kinds of language and whether the marking criteria are appropriate. We are sorry for having mistake. Might be enough from group 6. The last we say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.